India is now the most favored and hottest market in all of Asia for global investors. A survey by the Bank of America shows how investors are betting big on India and prefer to invest in Bharat over other Asian giants, including Japan, China, as well as Singapore. The superior showing by Indian Defence Forces in the intense India versus Pakistan border conflict seems to have renewed investor confidence in the rise of Bharat as a 21st century superpower. Bank of America's Fund Manager Survey now claims 42% back India over other markets in Asia, ahead of Japan at 36%, while China is now only at 6% due to the ongoing trade war with the United States, just marginally ahead of Singapore at 3%. Bank of America noted, quote, India emerges as the most favored market, perceived as a likely beneficiary of supply chain realignments following tariff effects, unquote. In fact, India's rise has been so spectacular that GDP of its states, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, is now greater than the entire GDP of Pakistan. States like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Gujarat have been attracting massive foreign investment, including from the likes of Apple and Foxconn, who are shifting the supply chains from China to India. The move has even drawn the attention of President Donald Trump, who now wants the US tech giant to invest in America.
I had a little problem with Tim Cook. I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India.
No other country in the global top 50 can match Indian GDP growth rate, as Bharat remains the fastest growing large economy in the world. The survey incorporated feedback from over 200 global panelists who manage $522 billion worth of assets. Now, experts and commentators have suggested that China may have played a role in escalating the recent India-Pakistan tensions with an aim to keep India occupied and busy with border tensions and thus create a hurdle in India's economic growth story. However, in just 72 hours, India achieved total air superiority over Islamabad, forcing Pakistan to seek US intervention to end the war before it spiraled out of control and threatened Pakistan's very existence. The Narendra Modi government, with its decisive action, have not only averted a war, but boosted global investor confidence of India's steady rise, even in the midst of a global trade war and regional conflicts in West Asia, as well as Europe. Now, this comes as great news for India, which will eclipse Japan this year to become the fourth biggest global economy before climbing to the third spot by 2028. India will also eclipse Japan to become the second largest market in Asia this year. While the Indian Nifty 50 has risen by 4% already this year, Japan's Nikkei 225 index has fallen by 4.4% during the same period, especially due to increased Chinese aggression in the South China Sea, as well as regions surrounding Japan's Senkaku Islands, raising fears of a new confrontation. Two sectors especially have invited renewed investor interest in India. These are first, infrastructure, and secondly, consumption. While the major fund managers still predict a global economic slowdown, these fears are slowly easing. Only 59% predict a global economic slowdown, which is an improvement from last month's figures of 82%. Similarly, 77% now predict a softer Asian economy as compared to 89% in the previous survey, which again is a marginal improvement being driven by India's steady growth. However, this survey was conducted before the United States and China meeting in Geneva to break the ice amid the trade war. Thus, the impact will be felt in the next BOFA survey. Still, China has risen the ranks over the past month to now reach the number 3 spot in the investor survey for Asia-Pacific region. Meanwhile, ace investor and financial commentator Jim Rogers claims the latest moves by the Narendra Modi government amid the Trump tariff turmoil can really boost the Indian economy and make India a central pillar of the global supply chain. He told news agency IANS, quote, "India is rising again. I think the people in Delhi understand what needs to be done and are trying to do it. That would be wonderful for India and for the world. If India can actually open up and engage in trade with the whole world, You cannot believe how exciting the country's future could be, unquote. India and the United Kingdom recently sealed a historic bilateral trade agreement, and several more are being discussed in advanced stages. These include the India-European Union FTA, India-Oman FTA, India-Australia Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, India-Peru Trade Agreement, as well as the India-Sri Lanka Economic Trade Agreement. Even though President Donald Trump has created a lot of uncertainty, first with his tariff threat and then by linking trade to the India-Pakistan ceasefire understanding, India and United States are reportedly also making progress towards a trade deal aiming to push bilateral trade closer to the $500 billion mark by 2030. While China and Pakistan continue their attempts to contain India, New Delhi's focus must remain on India's economic rise to truly transform Bharat into a global superpower by 2047 or 100 years of independent India. What do you believe? Can India close the gap on China as the world's factory? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.